Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. If you're not able to be out on site with our friends over at Lexington and University Avenue, we have a lot of people over there on site this chilly morning. If you're not able to join us there, you're able to join us here. Hopefully you're staying warm, cozy. You maybe have a nice hot beverage. Today we're just going to be talking a little bit about what's going on, checking in with community organizers who are on the ground, who are doing really important work, and also checking in on the Planning Commission meeting as we stay in tune and engaged and involved in what's happening. For like a lot of issues that have been going through the city, these days I've heard from a lot of neighbors that accessing and engaging the city process, while it always has been challenging with lots of hurdles, right now it's almost impossible. That community members feel shut out and like there's decisions being made where they have absolutely no influence or voice in the issue. So we've all been working really hard to ensure that everybody has a chance to learn about what's going on, engage directly with the people who are making decisions, and I guess be completely active in all of this business that affects us all so much, our communities and our neighborhoods. And Sarah, so we have Sarah live on site with our folks over at the Wilder lot. I'm getting a little dizzy. It looks like she's on the move. So her camera is running around a little bit. But it looks like she's walking up towards a spot where they had shoveled out an area in the snow to show, this is the size of a micro apartment that's being proposed, and to give folks a feel of maybe what that would actually be like. Sarah, can you hear me? Would our shoveler like to talk a little bit about what they're doing?
Yeah, I am going to come over to the shoveler. Hello, sir. Will you talk a little bit about what you're doing right now?
I'm shoveling out my future apartment, apparently. This is 450 square feet, which is what Alatus is proposing would be the affordable unit. And I think, what are they asking for this?
Like $1,200?
$1,200, which in real life is more than I paid for my mortgage on my 3-bedroom house. And I have kids. So the idea of this being the only affordable option for potentially a family is laughable. Plus I have to shovel it, which is nonsense. Thanks, Alatus.
Chris, why does this affect you? Is there a personal reason that you're invested in seeing something developed for this community?
Yeah, I don't know who's watching, but for those who are watching, this is Lexington Avenue right here. And if you pan off to your left, that's University on the other side of the TCF Bank. And you pan to your right, 94, what used to be Rondo. And then beyond that, right there is Central High School. And I used to have to walk this stretch 5 days a week, twice a day to get to and from school when I was in high school. Because I grew up 4 blocks from here. So, like, this is a major character change for the neighborhood that is being proposed here. One that is, I think, completely ignorant of who the neighborhood is. And I feel like it's, my mom used to work at the Wilder Foundation back in the day. And for the Wilder Foundation to be selling the land to make this move possible seems hilariously reckless and irresponsible. Especially given that their mission is supposed to be about empowering community. So, yeah, this just seems frankly stupid. But, yeah, 450 square feet, $1,200. What?
Can you do a snow angel here? Like, I bet like your feet from this side to this side could almost touch, or at least 2 of you, right?
I'm 6 foot.
Uh-huh.
Let's just see how many of, I bet I'm halfway plus a square.
This is dedication. Thank you, Chris.
Yep, you're halfway.
There's your sense of scale right there.
Yep. Well, thank you. We're
Thank you
trying
so
to.
much. All right, Sarah, warm up your hands for a little bit. Maybe we could hop over to MK. MK is also joining us.
I mean, this is how important it is. We have distance learning right here that's about to start. We got a screaming baby, right? But this is so urgent right now that I have to pause and say something. And I mean, I'll pop in and out. Let me just set Stokely up with Miss Grace time real quick.
Yeah,
I just wanted to shout out the LaFawn and Griggs crew. LaFawn and Griggs bus stop. I saw my friend Chris, my brother Chris, and my sister Sarah. We've been together since 9th grade. We shared a bus stop together, a few blocks away from the Lexington University area corner. And my hope is that what the stability that we got, right, as people growing up, as friends growing up together, I want that same stability for Bolden, and I want that same stability for Stokely. I want Stokely and Bolden to be able to grow up and build stable and solid relationships with their beloveds who are already around us, and that this Alatus project is really threatening that possible future.
Yes.
I'm gonna pop out, but I'm gonna pop back in periodically.
Awesome. Thank you.
Between distance learning time. All right.
All right. Have a good day at school. Thank you so much, MK. Yeah, some other folks will be joining us throughout the morning. So yeah, just to refamiliarize people with the issue, there's a developer named Alatus who is interested in purchasing 2 lots that's owned by Wilder in order to build a 288 unit market rate, luxury rate apartment building. And where we currently are is this morning. Where we currently are is we're going to be going live to the Planning Commission meeting and sharing what's going on there with you all so you can hear the discussion. So just bear with me for a sec as I share it out. Now, we've heard from folks that it's pretty hard to access this stuff. So that's why we're trying to figure out a way to share it online.
I see that there is a comment by Commissioner Perriman. Commissioner Perriman, I was going to turn the floor over to you.
Gotcha. Turn on my video. What's up? Welcome, new commissioners. I motion to deny the site plan based on finding 1. The site plan is inconsistent with the 2040 comp plan, specifically relating to various core values and community priorities, including equity, affordability, and sustainability.
Okay, is that the sole basis, Commissioner Perriman?
Yes.
Okay. So the basis for the denial is number 1, relating to the comp plan. Is there a second?
Second.
And who is that?
Naida.
So motion made by Commissioner Perriman, seconded by Commissioner Presley. I think at this time we can have discussion on the motion, and I see Commissioner Edgerton has a comment. Commissioner Edgerton.
Thank you, Chair. A question and a comment. First, I was not at the last meeting, so do I vote? So I did not vote then. Do I vote now?
I believe I'll turn it over to Mr. Warner. I believe that as long as you have reviewed all the materials, you were present for all the testimony provided into the record during zoning committee. Mr. Warner.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the Commissioner can vote.
Okay, thank you. So my comment then, I guess what I would say is, this is my personal opinion. I don't personally see a legitimate reason to deny this application. In my opinion, it meets the zoning code requirements, does not require any variances. It's not not receiving any subsidies from the public. The comp plan does have goals of affordable housing, sustainability, et cetera. But the comp plan does not require all applications, all new developments to have an affordable housing component to them. And so I don't really see that general goal as a justifiable reason to deny any application that doesn't have an affordable housing component. And I just feel that we shouldn't be denying an application just because we don't like it. You know, we're not kings here. We have rule of law here in St. Paul. And so I plan to not vote for denial.
Commissioner Baker.
Thanks, Chair. I will defer to staff and see Mr. Pereira has a comment before I make my comments. So that's
Certainly. Director Pereira.
Yeah, thank you, Chair and Commissioners. I just wanted to rewind a little bit and follow up on something that was said at the last meeting. So we had talked about finding number one, comp plan consistency, as a possible, finding to deny. And the chair indicated, and I confirmed, but I had a little bit of doubt when I confirmed it, that the finding of comp plan consistency alone could not be the sole rationale for denying a site plan that meets all other required zoning findings. I did have a chance to follow up after the meeting to confirm that understanding and checked with CAO, City Attorney's Office. So they confirmed that based on understanding of Minnesota case law, that a comp plan alone as a regulatory device, especially with respect to the approval of conditional use permit and site plan applications, is reasonably doubtful. So using that understanding of law and sort of cases on this matter in the past, and I don't want to speak for the City Attorney's Office, so Peter Warner's here. If you'd like to also comment, I would encourage you to also weigh in on that. I just wanted to put that out there for the commission as you think about the motion.
Thank you to that, Director Pereira. And for clarification as well, we also, the motion was to lay over for those who wanted to raise a motion in opposition or to deny, to have an opportunity to speak with staff. And it's my understanding that staff determined that their recommendation could not change. Is that correct? Or what? They didn't see a basis for changing it.
Chair, correct. So staff took a hard look at the two
Hey, Jens, do you know what's happening with the recording?
What do you mean? What's going on?
I just wanted to
We're still live, everyone.
on
Can we bring it to the chat?
the planning administrator has said, and it's simple. code is there is legal risk to that. That's pretty much my comment on that.
Thank you, Mr. Warner. Commissioner Baker.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. I appreciate that. I appreciate staff providing some context. I think just a few points. First point is I want to highlight, because I don't think I need to say any more based on what staff said. I voted for this project to move forward, which means that I was against the motion last time. And I just want to highlight a few things. First thing is I completely understand and connect with the community and also my fellow commissioners with a concern around the affordability aspects of this project. I also think that the applicant could have done a whole lot more to connect with the community, keep them involved, allow them to be a part of the process, almost bring them alongside. When you are coming into a neighborhood, you are potentially trying to propose a building in an area, and I just think that more could have been done with engagement. That being the case, I truly do believe that affordability right now isn't necessarily part of this conversation of the task at hand that we have to deal with concerning the site plan. And I want my fellow commissioners to think through what other options, think about the affordability and some other things that came up, and knowing that we may not be able to address it with this application. How and what other means and mechanisms can we get at some of those barriers that we see? And those are the kinds of conversations that I think that we need to have as commissioners and also with the city. I do think that we have a sphere of influence and a span of control. And I think some of the things that came up may be venturing outside of that span of control. I am in agreement with more affordability for housing in this, specifically in this area. I also am in agreement that there just needs to be more housing here in St. Paul. We as a commission have consistently said that there's an opportunity to do that. This site has been vacant for years. And I think that moving forward, that there is little that I can do based on my vote to deny this application. So thanks, Chair.
Commissioner Lindy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to mirror what a lot of my colleagues have said today. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks. It's a difficult case. Because I agree with a lot of the comments that were in opposition to this application and what we're saying about affordability in St. Paul and how big of a crisis it is. But unfortunately for us today, there's nothing about affordability in the zoning code. We don't have any regulations about the rents in our code, so we can't create those regulations by pointing to the comprehensive plan because it's not a legal document, as the city attorney has said today. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I think if we pretend that we can vote yes or no on developments because of affordability concerns, it's not a good idea. We'll be misleading people, misleading the public or activists working on equity and social justice issues that are really important. We don't really have that power, and the zoning code doesn't do it today. So if we want to put rules about affordability into the St. Paul zoning code, we have to have these difficult conversations about translating those values that are in the comp plan into the legal details of regulation. It's not easy to do that. If we want to make those policies, we can look at Minneapolis, where they have inclusionary zoning and are now putting rent stabilization on a ballot measure for the election this year. Those are interesting ideas. They're not silver bullets, but they're the kinds of things that we can do as a planning commission. So because we haven't done that work yet, this project meets all the zoning requirements, and that's why I still support it.
Commissioner DeJoy and then Commissioner Hood.
Yes, thank you. I guess some of my comments would be redundant, so I'll try and not reflect back to the comprehensive plan and some of the comments I had. I think it's a little misleading when we take almost 3 years to go through a comprehensive plan and then say it's not a legal document, it doesn't hold any weight. The entire theme of our comprehensive plan is equity, and there's plenty of comments about affordability, but I'll leave that at that. What also was discussed is about preserving the unique geological, geographic, historic, significant characteristics of the city and environmentally sensitive areas. This is a community that has quite a bit of low-income people. It's part of the history of the city of St. Paul, and yet this development, let's not talk about affordability, it's access. There's going to be quite a large number of people in the neighborhood that will not have access to this development. And that's my comment.
Commissioner Hood and then Commissioner Wong.
Thank you, Chair. So I've been a planner for about 10 years professionally, and I can say that I am less confident now in my vision than I was over a decade ago. You know,
Speaking
with
now
this
is
specific
Nathaniel
site, we have an
Hood.
impressive mix of complex issues, from redlining to the construction of 94 and subsequent disinvestment. And also, too, just to kind of address another issue, the Wilder Foundation, which it appears has been essentially speculative land banking for, 12 to 15 years. And despite the work that Wilder does, it really does feel like they could be doing something more on this parcel. Another thing, too, that to me, it makes it feel like the city and the neighborhood doesn't have really control of our land, where you can have something like a small provision in the Jobs and Tax Cut Act, which is the Trump tax cut bill, which created federal opportunity zones that allows for tax advantage investments in areas like this. And the city too had selected this area to be one of the small number of opportunity zones. And this type of policy, coming down from the federal level, it doesn't really deliver the fine-grained local urbanism that we love. The type of building that we see today is the type of investment that we've seen across the country in opportunity zones. And it really feels weird that your community can be shaped by legislation that was drafted by the co-founder of Napster, as weird as that sounds. But, as it pertains to the comp plan in general, one of the things that's been more humbling to me, and something I've been thinking about a lot for the past 2 weeks, is how you can have one document and you could have two people that look at it entirely different. So when we say, does this meet the comp plan? My thought as a planner is, look, this is a mixed-use development near a light rail station on an infill site that doesn't tear down any buildings and includes some affordability. On paper, that absolutely looks like a win. However, there's a huge equity component in the comp plan. And it's weird, it's like a weird balance that we need to strike, and a fine line that we need to walk.
We're getting some
And
comments on
I just want
Facebook.
to be upfront and say, as a citizen, it is shocking. The rents do seem high, even for affordable housing. One of the things that my wife pointed out last night when we were talking about this is the one bedrooms that are proposed is more than our mortgage on a 3-bedroom house.
Yep,
And
that's what
really a
Chris was just
wake-up
talking
call
about
for
when he
me,
was laying in the snow there.
in the housing crisis that we have. Thankfully, we're lucky enough to, have the resources to buy a house, 7-8 years ago. But I keep coming back to this issue that we today need to make a quasi-judicial decision on the site plan. I've been thinking about the Taco Bell vote on Snelling that we had not too long ago. Just a little confession, I like Taco Bell. That's not something I say publicly about the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. And for clarification as well, we also wanted to
Our code doesn't give us a legal framework, like whether through the comp plan or through affordable housing, to deny this development. Inclusionary housing, I want to be on record as saying that's something that the city should do, but we don't have that framework today. So really, for those reasons, I will be voting against the resolution today. So Thank you, and I also apologize for taking 5 minutes of everyone's time.
Commissioner Wong and then Commissioner McMurtry.
Thanks, Chair. I've been thinking a lot about this vote, and it's been really weighing on me for many reasons, and I want to take the time to share why, because it's actually not just about this vote or even about this development. It's really about how I want to approach our responsibility as planning commissioners and how I want to be engaged in the broader field of urban planning. And one of the dynamics that I've seen a lot in planning, and this is across many experiences, multiple cities, not just St. Paul, is whiteness in planning. And when I say that, I don't mean white people in planning. I mean whiteness that has been embedded in the institutions and codes and systems and laws that we have all, as a commission and staff, inherited, right? It shows up in so many places, and it's a challenge that we're all tackling together as commissioners and with staff's abundant support. And I think this whiteness in planning is like a huge iceberg, because systemic change is hard and takes a long time and a lot of work to move. For our communities, it's like sharp icicles with very acute and very specific harm. Sorry, everyone. Just give me a couple of seconds to gather myself. Thanks for your patience. And whiteness in planning is hard to define, but I think we know it when we see it. It is using area median income to define affordability when that disadvantages and effectively excludes the low wealth and BIPOC residents who need affordable housing the most. It is saying that this site has been blighted for so long and at least someone wants to do something about it, without acknowledging that vacant land and blight are an intentional result of racialized disinvestment and redlining. It is preferring the cultural, economic, and physical displacement of low-wealth BIPOC renters over an empty lot. It is taking an incredibly complex community development issue that will impact hundreds of BIPOC low-wealth renters and simplifying it down to a potential legal risk. Whiteness is asking residents to trust us with their dreams and visions of a future community, asking them to engage and contribute to comp plans and station area plans and neighborhood plans, asking them to put their labor and their dreams and their vision into that.
Thank you.
And then breaking that trust when the rubber hits the road, because it turns out that their engagement and their voice doesn't hold any water. It is asking residents for engagement when it benefits plans, but creating barriers to listening to them and allowing us to listen to them when it might create tensions or problems. So for all of those reasons, I'm choosing to vote along with Commissioner Perryman, because I don't want to perpetuate this harm with the power that I hold as a planning commissioner. And I know very well that whatever decision is made here goes to city council, could be changed, could be overturned, it could be kept. But I just want to walk away from this call knowing that I did everything as a commissioner to live up to those values that we claim supposedly as a city, and to be accountable to the people that I represent. Thank you.
Commissioner McMurtry, and thank you for those comments, Commissioner Wong. Commissioner McMurtry?
Thank you, Chair. I just had one question from my own understanding. What happens in the event that today's resolution is denied, what happens next with just with this process?
I have an understanding of it, but I think to get a complete, accurate understanding, I'll turn to Mr. Warner.
Mr. Warner is the city attorney.
Commissioner, one possibility might be that a denial of the application would cause the applicant to appeal to city council. The applicant may choose not to appeal to city council in the event of a denial, but the applicant certainly would have the opportunity to do that in the event of a denial.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Commissioner Perriman?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Wong, for those comments as well. Yes, just going back to a few things. Taco Bell was brought up. I am a huge fan of Taco Bell. I don't hide that one. But that was a slightly different situation, of course. It wasn't a site plan, but quoting previous commissioners, some did use their kingly powers to deny that one, even though it was overturned and voted in support of by the planning commission. So the zoning committee voted against that one. Planning commission voted to support that, and then it was appealed to the city council, so stating that we do have the ability to vote on these things as we feel that with our own rationale from our own findings and information. There's been talks of legal ramifications and statements that I feel have been somewhat intimidating to commissioners. That is not a fear that we should have. No one's going to come and take your house away from you for this vote. You have the ability to vote based on your findings and your rationale. We have, if we lined up every decision we've made, there's definitely not a universal vote from anyone. People have used their own findings and information. And yeah, just going back to Commissioner Wong, it's I made my decision up on this long ago, but of course we're not a sequestered
Folks who are watching on Facebook, can you hear this?
And the comments and different things, and it's the people saying, oh, it's an eyesore. I don't like it being nothing, versus this is going to be a life-altering change for community members, and those do not sit same on the scale for me. So we have this ability to do this. If not now, when multiple commissioners have talked about that this continues to happen and we do nothing. We have the power and the ability to do this now. So yes, that's my comment. Thank you.
So I see Commissioner Tagiab wants to make a comment. Commissioner Tagiab, are you going to be abstaining from the vote, or was it just for the first? I know the other two commissioners said it would be for both votes, but I don't think you said it was going to be for both. Is that correct?
That's correct. I feel comfortable voting on the motion that's before us, which is whether to approve or deny based on the comp plan alone. I feel that's a decision I can take an opinion on. The comment I wanted to make on this, and I wanted to assure my fellow commissioners that I've spent numerous hours over the past 2 weeks reviewing the complete public record on this, reading all the documents, and I feel like I understand this development.
So Commissioner Tagoff is
on the vote
very
itself,
new. He just was sworn in this morning.
Advice essentially that our hands are tied. Essentially, a visionary doc is not a regulatory control. However, that doesn't mean that there are no issues with this application. Reviewing it is characterized by a lack of engagement and a lack of respect for the surrounding communities. You can see that in numerous aspects of the building's design. Its massing, which is designed to occupy the entire site and be as tall as possible and create as much profit as possible for the developer. The lack of attention paid to anything in terms of the way it sits in the landscape and the other buildings nearby. There's no attention paid to that at all. For example, the Carty Heights development to the immediate southwest has a garden, which is supposedly for the residents to walk around, and that garden will now be in shadow, and they will be deprived of any meaningful views aside from a 6-story building. There's very little attention paid to ensuring there are complete sidewalks, complete streets. The people who are listening to this call and will have worked so hard potentially on community-driven initiatives through district councils, such as the Lexington area station plan, should, I think, should be justifiably enraged and angered. There was a thorough community process, and to set aside an area plan that's extremely well thought out and very specific on details such as connecting Fuller Avenue and things like this, on the basis of some language in essentially a footnote saying that, oh, well, until the city takes action, we disregard, strikes me as being very antithetic towards the community, whatever the legal status of that. I do think there are a number of problems with this development in terms of its compliance with the with particularly the T4 zoning district. I don't think it's pedestrian friendly. I think it impedes pedestrian access, particularly east to west. I don't think it's cognizant of any pre-existing city approved plans as it's required to do under 66.344A. Evidently no effort was made for any form of connection and incorporation into the surrounding area. I don't think it's in compliance with B2, which is transitions to lower density neighborhoods. Little to no attention has been paid to transitions of any kind in density. And I don't think it pays attention to 6.344B16, which is the interconnected street and alley network. The existing street and alley network should be preserved and extended as part of any new development. If the street network has been disrupted, it should be restored wherever possible. I see nothing in the nature of the site. In fact, it was 2 parcels, presumably to allow an east-west connection. The developer chose to make a single master building with no through access, for example. This is all my way of comment to say that I strongly disagree with this application as formed, even if I understand that on the basis of the narrow motion today, which is, can we deny on the basis of the comp plan? I feel we regrettably cannot. I think there are a number of grounds that the committee could consider, and it's a shame they have not. That's my comment.
I see Commissioner Muchapao, and then Commissioner Muchapao. And before going to Commissioner Muchapao, it looks like some people who are members of the community who are attending today, and we thank you for taking the time. We know that this is an incredibly important vote for the community, but I would ask commissioners to disregard any comments that are outside of the public record, as this is a quasi.
Ooh, should we try to take a look at the chat?
Application.
Let's see if I can figure that out for you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So first, I just want to thank all the commissioners, particularly Commissioner Hong, Joy, and Perryman for your motion. And I agree with all of you. And I've said this so many times before too, that like we find ourselves in this situation over and over again. So I don't want to repeat everybody. I just want to say that I really agree with those things. And this is not the first time that this has happened. I want to encourage commissioners that are on the fence or still trying to make your decision on this vote, that like you can vote against it. I know that there's a strong argument that there's no legal finding that could, I guess, legitimize this vote if you vote against it, but that is still an option. I'm not a lawyer, and so, but what I hear often is that, a lot of law is based on precedent, and I cannot vote to approve this. I can't set that precedent. I mean, like, I feel like we're constantly just put in this position and where our hands are tied and we cannot, like, we feel like we can't make a decision, and like setting that precedent, I think, is not the direction that we want to go in as a city and as commissioners. So I will be voting to support Commissioner Perryman's motion.
Commissioner Babe.
Thanks, Chair. I will be brief. I don't think that I may be wrong on this, but I guess to support others that says that you can vote against this application. I completely agree, and I am planning to vote to move this application forward. But I do want to highlight that I know that a lot of these applications start to get the conversation starts to get tense. And even though I'm voting to move this forward, I will not say to a fellow commissioner, and my goal is not to threaten any commissioner to say that there will be an issue if you vote against it. You were pulled into this commission for a certain reason and a certain perspective, and we all have one vote. I respect all of those that vote, even if you vote against me. I've stated why I am going to vote.
Following this vote, we will be going live on site at Lexington and University to check in with our team.
On moving forward. So that's all I'll say, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Baker. And I appreciate those comments. I do think it's a divisive question, and I think it poses almost like an internal questions of ourselves, not of ourselves, but of like Commissioner Hood said, two people can view a standard or a particular application, and both have reasonable, rational reasons for why they view the item the way that they do, and I think it's more about having respect for both views, and certainly to Commissioner Perryman's point.
All right, I hope you all can still hear the meeting.
The commission can, as long as there's.
Sarah's going to go live and
even if it's
show us some of our folks.
Vote to deny, whether or not that's advisable, that would be for each independent commissioner to make that determination. Commissioner Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be brief. I just wanted to, I really appreciated things everyone has said, and something Commissioner Muchipal said about, like how many times many of us in this body have been here, and so many times, and
we're
so
listening.
I am very grateful.
We're active in the community and we're listening.
Finally has been brought to this work, and the awareness, the calls I received from neighbors and others asking like, what is going on with this project? And I took every opportunity to say, we have been saying these things over and over again with projects, and that the things that we want to see, that we want to be able to support, need to be in law. They need to be in places that they're not now, and that is not understood. And so I am so grateful to be a part of this body and with this group, to be able to call those things out. And I just given what is before us, I am following in the comments of Commissioners Baker and Lindeke and others for this vote, but I just I am grateful that finally I feel like the problems that we face are being seen, and I really hope something comes of it.
Thank you for that comment, Commissioner Underwood. I will say, in the process of this, I think
burritos from Homie.
I became aware that we have been, in a sense, a very passive commission, and I think we will have a larger discussion on that later on in the agenda. But I do think there is an avenue for more engagement in the part of the commission. So that's we'll have that discussion in later items, but it is something that for those of us, and Commissioner Lindeke, Underwood, and other commissioners that have been serving for a longer period, Edgerton, we all know that this is something that has come up repeatedly, and we keep asking for tools, and we keep asking for a solution to help us with frustrations. And we have been, in a sense, relying on staff to give us those tools. And I think it might be a time to have the discussion of what the commission can do on its own. So if there's no additional comments, Commissioner Warner, could you explain how the vote, if a person votes to deny, the method vote? if they vote to deny or vote to approve, whether they're required to, how they're required to state their basis on the record.
Is this unusual?
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, the motion before you is a motion to deny the application based on, I believe it's finding.
So speaking as the city attorney right
the
now.
maker of the motion has stated his reasons. You can vote, and when you vote, because this is a denial, you will have to articulate your reasons on the record. You can do that as simply as saying, I join in the reasons cited by the maker of the motion. That is probably the easiest thing to do. You could add your own conditions as well. Again, I encourage you to remember that those reasons have to be factually based. And if I may, Chair, could I just make one more additional comment? Because we have a new commissioner who's going to vote, and is it, Commissioner, I apologize for mispronouncing your last name, I'm sure. Is it Takeoff?
Takioff, you would be the first.
Takioff, thank you. And because you're a new commissioner, I just wanted to point out that you articulated some reasons that are opposite of, I'm sorry, not opposite, but are different than the reasons offered by the maker of the motion. And it strikes me that those reasons would likely fall under section 61401 C4 and 5, having to do with the aspects of design, the comments that you made. And so you have a couple of options here. You could simply add those to the record, or you would have the opportunity to ask the maker of the motion. And the second, if you would consider that to be a friendly amendment as an additional reason. And if that were adopted, then your fellow commissioners would have the opportunity to say, I join in those as well. So there would essentially be two reasons articulated based on the standards that are in the zoning code for denial of the site plan application. So I'll leave that up to you, but that is because you're new, I just wanted to point out that you have that option.
Commissioner Tagiop, would you like Commissioner Perryman to consider that as a friendly amendment to his motion?
I had a question first.
Oh, go ahead.
My question is this. If the motion falls, in other words, does not get passed in its current form, does that qualify as an approval, or is the project essentially in limbo and would need a new motion to approve?
It's my understanding, and Mr. Warner can correct me, but it would be that we would then have to entertain another motion.
That's correct, Chair. And if I could.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have already denied the application because the way the Minnesota law is written, a failure to approve a motion to approve constitutes a denial. And so that has been done. What you're doing now is the next step to complete that process is to articulate your reasons why. So Commissioner, to your question, if this motion to approve the denial, if you will, fails, there will have to be another motion made.
To approve
Those of you who are watching, you're not the only ones that are confused.
Motion would be to
this is confusing stuff.
Recommendation of the zoning committee.
Okay, then to answer your first question, my concern about adding on reasons is that I don't feel I've had, or anyone's had the time to properly consider whether these reasons might form a legal basis. If I were to propose adding several of these reasons that I've considered, I would want that to be something that the commission would have an opportunity to review in detail and think through before casting a vote on it. So I don't see how I can responsibly add these additional considerations in at the last minute, and would essentially vote on the motion as presented, which I think is clear at this point.
Okay, I think if a commissioner would want to rely, that's okay. But I think if a commissioner would whenever they vote yes or no, if they vote yes in favor of the motion to deny and they have to articulate their reasons, they could say.
So speaking
and
now is
Mr. Warner,
the
correct me if I'm
planning
wrong,
commission
but they could
president.
say for the reasons articulated by the maker of the motion and also the reasons articulated by Commissioner Tagioff, if they felt comfortable adding those.
They certainly could. And I will just remind the chair and the commission, in order to fulfill the spirit and intent of Minnesota Statute 1599, you have to take a vote today. You do not have the luxury of laying it over.
Oof.
Okay. So is there any additional comments or questions before we take a vote?
It looks like folks are getting ready to vote. For those of you who are on the ground right now.
Seeing none, Sonia, could we get a roll call?
Commissioner Baker,
No.
Commissioner DeJoy.
I vote in favor of the motion to deny based on finding number 1 and cited by the maker of the motion.
Commissioner Edgin,
No.
Commissioner Grill,
No.
Commissioner Hood,
No.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes, I vote and cite the reasons brought up by Commissioner Perryman and Commissioner Tagioff.
Commissioner Lindekey,
No.
Commissioner McMurtry.
Yes, for the reasons articulated by the maker of the motion.
Commissioner Muchapa,
Yes, for the same reasons as the maker of the motion. And I'd like to also add Commissioner Tagioff's.
Commissioner Syed,
Yes, the reason that Mr. Perman bring in reservations.
Commissioner Perryman,
Yes, based on the previous, my stated motions, also as the information brought forth by Commissioner Tagioff.
Commissioner Presley,
I vote yes, in accordance with the maker of the motion by Commissioner Perryman and the additional information by Commissioner Tagioff.
Commissioner Bisberg, Commissioner Risberg,
No.
Commissioner Underwood,
No.
Commissioner Tagioff.
Then if I'm allowed to add reasons, I will vote yes on the basis of the various other pieces I articulated.
Eight, 7.
So the motion to deny the applications is approved. So the motion, the site plan is not approved for, I guess, for the reasons that of the maker of the motion, as well as the certain commissioners relied on the reasons by.
Well, there you have it, folks. 8-7. Another very close vote. Look at everybody on the ground.
Thank you, Planning Commission.
I can't hear you. I wish I could hear you.
Who are brave. My bad, Jen.
We're right here. I got the live feed right here.
Okay.
Who wants to talk first?
Hey, everybody. Thank you for your hard work. Look at that Midway Rise Up gear.
I'm live.
We just won that vote again.
I can't.
Shout out to the organizers. Organizing work.
Yeah, I'm live. All right. Can you hear Kimani okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Gotcha. Hey, Kamani.
Right now I'm over here, I'm standing in 450 square feet. I'm a 6'5" brother. Now check it out. I'm gonna sit my ass down in this house.
Oh my goodness.
Think my big ass is gonna be comfortable in this? Think I'm gonna be able to be chilling this? All of this four walls feeling like I'm in a jail cell or something like that? Yeah,
I think you got some friends coming over.
This ain't what's up.
This is three
This ain't no
prison
way to
cells right
live.
here. This is 3 prison cells.
You can't be paying all that loot and be this big with no space. There ain't really too much to say after that. Do people right. Hold it down. Quit playing with people. Make this stuff affordable. Give people the space that they need and stop playing with people's emotions. Because like I said before, my big ass cannot be in 450 square feet. You feel me?
Same here.
Thank you,
Oh my God.
Kimani. Okay. All right, Kimani, I'm gonna pass it along. Yeah.
What is happening right now? This is community
I'm at the
joy.
other
I just
end.
want y'all
Hey,
to know
y'all
this.
down there. Woo!
You feel what I'm saying? It ain't working. It's just not working. It ain't working, man.
All right, who else wants to talk? Danielle? Danielle? Anybody? Okay. Let me hear your response.
I am so excited. Organizing works. When we fight, we win. Yes. Community has the real power. Yes. And we don't have to take no for an answer just because that's what they're telling us we have to do.
That's
Somebody
right.
call Trump. And don't forget. I know.
Don't forget these council members.
Thank you all so much. Look at Daniel out there.
Council Perryman and Naida and everyone who voted today and brought it forward that it's about the community. And we voted you in. We've asked you to speak on our behalf. Thank you. And there's still more work to do.
Yep.
So a lot of work to do. It was denied again, and it can go to the city council, right? Y'all?
Yep, they could appeal to the city council,
right?
Yep.
So there still is the fact that we do, the city, Mayor Carter, the city council, they need to go ahead and put in those regulatory, right? Pretty much go ahead and put some information on what we mean when we say affordable housing.
Right.
$1,000 for 450 square feet is not affordable housing. But based on what our laws right now are saying, we can just go ahead and put, we're gonna have affordable housing. And then you in. We have to change those policies, change those laws around so we actually have more. This needs to stop.
Yes.
So, but good work, y'all.
Good work, y'all.
Here's another thing. Let's make sure.
In the house.
Woo, woo, woo.
Let's make sure there's voices on this committee of you people who are there actually making the vote. There are voices that are saying the city needs to have a more comprehensive plan for getting our citizens' voices heard and actually accounted for, and to make sure that we're actually acting on behalf of the city's people, making sure that the character of the city is preserved.
Yes.
Like how a project like this comes and does not fit the character of the city is obvious. Like the fact that we're having to go a second round of votes on this because there's not legal standing, because we can't take into account what makes common sense, is hilarious. So I think that there's work to be done, commissioners, on making sure that you can actually account for these things and not just have to depend on legality.
Yeah, threatening people.
Yeah, and on top of that, to your point, right, the threatening of our commissioners.
Fear mongering.
The fear mongering, that's it.
Yes.
To people who have been appointed in positions to speak on behalf of the community that are being threatened by other leaders in the community for ethically voting in favor of what the community needs are is not okay.
Right.
So there's a lot of that's going on here, and we know who you are. We live in this neighborhood.
We
right?
saw you vote.
We and we heard you vote, and we heard what you're saying, and we know that you threatened our colleagues.
Yep.
Stop.
Yep.
You know, this is our community, and this is not affordable housing.
No.
No. do need affordable housing, and we do want something here.
Yeah.
And housing actually would make sense here.
Yeah. Go hit up under
Affordable.
Yeah.
No, yes. Talk to the native folks in the community. Get them involved. They know what's up.
And hold up. From cone to cone? From cone to cone?
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, you guys want to line up from cone to cone?
Let's just show them what's up from cone to cone.
All these people.
Can you
out
guys
on the
stand in
ground
those corners in this
organizing.
corner?
Yep, cone to cone.
Here's the size of the apartment.
You ain't really having this kind of dance party up in here. Right? You can't be up in here watching and doing all this. Hey, especially with all this COVIDia going on, we ain't having that, right?
COVIDia.
You know, stop playing with people's square footage. Quit playing games. Quit raising this rent. Quit doing all of this cornball activity. You know what I'm saying? Just stop playing with people.
I love it.
You know.
I got Tia from Frogtown Neighborhood Association. Tia.
I just want to say that it is that growing up here, I remember the funky snow mound that I remember kids slide down. And when it is that you didn't want to put money into our neighborhoods, that's what it looked like. Now you want to put money into our neighborhood because that is there, which is the green line. They did not protect you when they put the green line in, and this is what's happening. Second of all, when I was listening on the Planning Commission's meeting this morning, I heard them say that it is that, you know, there wasn't enough engagement. There wasn't enough engagement with the community, but they still voted for the pass the stupid property, right? So the stupid sale. So I just want to let you guys know that, just like Danielle said and everybody else said, that organizing does work. They have to figure out what the hell they're going to do tomorrow. So I am so proud of our commissioners that stood for this. Trom, I love you. Thank you so much for having so much passion. And yeah, let's keep fighting. Let's keep mobilizing.
Woo!
Yes, thank you, Frogtown.
I think Isabel still was going to speak. Let me check and make sure she's not too cold.
Oh, everybody, you're being run out in the snow.
Kathy Muchapow says this is the most powerful vote she's ever taken in 5 years on the Planning Commission. That's what Katie just yelled to me. Let me get over by these heaters. Let me check in with Isabel. Isabel, did you want to say something? Isabel, you're good? Okay. We won. We won. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Get warm, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. If you want to close it out, let people know what our next steps are. Maybe MK wants to talk about what happens next if they appeal it and what we got to do next. MK, are you able to do that? I'm gonna close it out and try not to get frostbite.
All right. Get warm. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
MK. Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm actually not clear about those steps. So that's homework that I look forward to doing with community.
Yeah,
Figure out what those next steps and those follow-up steps are.
For sure, yeah. And that's work, you know, you'll hear from us. Those of you who are watching, there's a whole lot of love coming in online, by the way. It's like every time I look down, you know, there's a new comment. So thank you everybody who's watching this. But yeah, we will figure out those next steps. That's homework we'll all do together. We'll let you know what's coming up, but we want you to stay organized and connected. We want our elected officials who are watching this, city council members, to pay attention to the conversations we're having and the points we're making, especially since those things are being silenced, you know, throughout this process. We know that the issues documents that follow it don't have anything about anything we're talking about. So we want you all to do your homework too, to make sure that you're listening, that you're engaged. The folks on the ground, we had Frogtown Neighborhood Association, Union Park District Council, Summit University Planning Council, Midway Rise Up, Love First, yeah. We had a whole bunch of I'm probably forgetting some people. I'm sorry. Am I forgetting some people? Well, I'm sorry if I did. We love you too. Yeah.
There's a multitude.
There's a multitude
of us, right?
Yep.
And That's what folks need to know, is that there's a lot of us, more than the people who are named.
Yep.
Got a fussy baby. I got you. He's ready for sleep. But I think he can nap more soundly, knowing that the denial to move the Alatus's application forward is that's what that's what today.
Yeah.
So I do have follow-up questions though, in terms of, because this is we got this round, right? But there's a chance that Alatus will appeal to city council, right? And that'll be the next leg, right? And that'll be what we have to start paying attention to as well. I do have some questions about that I think we all should consider: city council, Wilder, the community. I know Alatus, is that Wilder had entered a purchasing agreement with Alatus, but I think there's still some research and some digging into that we have to do around whether Wilder violates its article of incorporation.
Yes.
Right? Because if that's the case, then Wilder should have never entered this purchasing agreement in the first place. And that we shouldn't have been having this conversation.
Yeah,
right? And so I want to kind of retrace our steps to kind of get clear about that, because I heard a lot of legal arguments on using the legal basis that we don't have a legal basis to deny this project. And I got to get back to this one. But there's some questions that I have, right? But I'm really happy that on the PED side, the planning commissioners who are brave enough, right, to love the community and to deny the application, that I'm just happy that there's some hope that we can live into the planning and economic development racial equity statement. And I'm going to read it real quick, and then we can shut it down, right? But in the follow-up steps, my hope is that the city of St. Paul is home to 300,000 residents speaking more than 100 different languages and dialects. Our diversity is an asset in a globally connected economy, and one that we as a community need to activate by ensuring equitable access to resources and opportunity. I know, thank you, baby, for being patient. The data below, and then you'll see a lot of data being collected of how diverse we are, and that if it's a goal to protect the diversity, right, the richness, the biodiversity of our people, then we know that Alatus ain't it. And so my hope is that the city council folks do the right thing, right? And do the right thing. And
absolutely, yes.
So I'm gonna go breastfeed this baby and give her a nap.
All right, take care. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody who has joined us. If you're watching this after the fact, you can get connected in the comments. We'll put links to the different organizations who are organizing together against this and calling for development that does not displace the community, development that nourishes the community, and development that loves the community. Thank you all so much. Have a great morning, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.